Adobe Illustrator is kind enough to give us a lot of tools that help us out in the world of drawing. We have the ubiquitous shape drawing tools. I don't even know what that word means, but I like using it. And you've got rectangles and circles and all kinds of fun stuff, and we can modify them and draw all day long. You have, of course, the line segment tool, arcing tools, spirals, etc. You have the pen tool, which I really do like, because if you really master that tool, you can draw anything you want. But we also have some other tools, and in this lesson, that's what we want to talk about, some of the other tools we can use to draw. The first one we want to look at is this one right here. It's called the pencil tool. Now, there are 3 elements in the pencil tool pullout, so let's tear that off. You have the pencil tool, you have a smoothing tool, and you have a path erase tool. So you've got these 3 different tools. Obviously, you're probably going to start by drawing a path. The pencil tool emulates as much as possible on a computer system the feel of drawing on a piece of paper with a pencil. But that's not really true when you think about it, because you're using a mouse or a drawing tablet and you're using hand-eye coordination to translate those movements. After a while you get into it, you practice, you get used to it. But it's supposed to be a pencil on a piece of paper. It works best, in my opinion, with a drawing tablet. So you come over here and you click and you drag and you can draw lines. You know, just about anything you want to. Again, a drawing tablet's going to help you out a little bit more. If you don't have one, no big deal. Use your mouse and just try to practice to get the movements to emulate kind of like you're on a piece of paper. What's next? Well, we've got some lines on the screen. You will notice the lines have segments based on how they were drawn. Maybe I want to change some things. One thing to remember about Illustrator is, in my opinion, it is one of the most controllable programs on the entire planet. If you double-click on most of these tools over here, you're going to get options. Double-click on the pencil tool. Pencil tool options include fidelity and smoothness. Now, fidelity is actually, well, it's a number between 0.5 and 20. The lower the fidelity, the more closely the line will follow the movement of the mouse, and the greater the number of anchor points are going to be created. The opposite is true if you increase that number. Smoothness, it's a value between 0 and 100. I've got it cranked all the way to 100. The higher the smoothness, the smoother the curves. The lower the smoothness, the more bends, if you want more bends. Of your other options, fill new pencil strokes, which gives you the ability to use a fill and a stroke. In most cases, that's probably not necessary. We're just using a stroke, not a fill. Keep selected, I think, is important, because after you draw the last line, it leaves it selected. And after we get done with these options, I'm going to show you what that does. Edit selected paths. I can change paths in Adobe Illustrator by actually going over them again with the pencil tool if I'm within that number. In this case, 12 pixels. I'm going to click OK. This line down here is selected. Let's select a different one. I'm going to come up and select this one. Now, how do I do that? I'm just simply holding down the Control key. That's a shortcut to get back to the selection tool. I come over here, and I know this is difficult for you to see, but if I get 12 pixels away, an X appears next to my cursor, which means I will draw a new path or a new pencil stroke. If I get closer, it goes away. If that X is gone, and I touch the line and begin drawing with the same tool, I'm actually going to reshape what I just drew. So you can change the shape by drawing on it, and that 12 pixels we looked at is how close I have to be for that to happen. If I get far enough away, I can draw new lines all day long. What's the next one? The next option is smoothing. What smoothing does is it smooths a path. So I'm going to hold down the Control key again and click on this one down here. Select it. You have to select it to make it work. Watch what happens when I begin rubbing the smoothing tool on this item. So it begins to smooth out the shape. Now, it wasn't really in that bad of shape, if you will, as it was. But what it does is it smooths the shape out. It uncomplicates it, if you will. Creates a smoother shape. The last one is called the Path Eraser tool. And what it does is it erases segments of a selected path. That's important to remember, too, a selected path. So if I begin erasing, I can begin erasing segments of that path. So the pencil tool and the smooth tool and the path eraser tool all together comprise what are called the options of the pencil tool. And like I said, it basically makes you feel like you're drawing with a pencil on a piece of paper. I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pick up the selection tool just for a second. Let's get rid of all of these. And let's get rid of, Let's get rid of this piece and let's just leave that piece right there. I want to introduce you to something, might as well do it now, that's a feature that's only in CS5, but it's really cool when you're working with strokes. They do not have to be done with the pencil tool. It's this one right here. This tool right here is called the Width tool. If you've not played with this yet, it's really cool. Once you have it selected, we're going to come over here and select this path. Watch what happens when I get on the path now and drag. What I'm doing basically is creating paths, and I'm making the line larger or smaller just by dragging out. We're going to work more with this tool later, but I wanted to introduce you to that because it's a really neat tool for making things that, well, in this case, looks like a leaf. It's called the Width tool. Don't forget you got that one, and again, we'll use it a little bit later. You can do some really cool things with that Width tool.